So, this is part A of the Khoodeelaar television channel, broadcasting under the banner of Baby Angel Geronimo editions on Monday, the 2nd of October 2023. Baby Angel Geronimo was born in New Zealand approximately 10 years ago and was lovingly raised by a woman called Leonie Walker. Baby Angel Geronimo left New Zealand, and the departure of Baby Angel Geronimo has been regretted by Leonie Walker ever since. Baby Angel Geronimo joined Helen MacDonald in South Gloucestershire in England in 2017, and Helen MacDonald, in good faith, in absolutely good faith, volunteered to have Baby Angel Geronimo tested for any infection. The most common and likely infection that is associated or has been associated with alpacas. Alpacas are members of the camelid family, is bovine tuberculosis. But Baby Angel Geronimo was denied, has been denied an independent, objective, truthful, honest test. But Helen MacDonald has been lied to. She has been lied to by DEFRA, saying that they did test Baby Angel Geronimo, and that they found Baby Angel Geronimo with a positive result, which was that he had bovine tuberculosis infection, which he didn't, because they rigged the test. And by rigging the test, they completely frustrated, defeated the very idea of a test. But they were not interested in the truth. They had a plot against Baby Angel Geronimo. They had a plan right from the word go. And they wanted to produce the worst possible outcome for Baby Angel Geronimo, so that they could do him damage, they could do him harm, they could hurt him. It is based on that rigging and based on the perpetration of the continuation, the repeat of the rigging as the truth by the DEFRA liars, Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. The liars lied and are lying and have been lying. That the deliberations about the challenge by Helen MacDonald to that rigged claim first heard at the district county court level by a corrupt criminal liar called Leighton, sitting as district judge, and then by three other high court judges. All of those criminals merely copied the DEFRA liars, Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. They repeated the liars of the DEFRA, and they said, and in the case of the latest one that heard the or staged a kind of sitting. Griffiths, on the 29th of July 2021, in the High Court, Griffiths says that it doesn't matter. Griffiths, the prostitute, the criminal, said that it doesn't matter whether the test was truly objective or it was rigged. It is immaterial. He said the Secretary of State was entitled to disregard the evidence and go ahead to approve of the conspiracy to do severe damage to the safety and security and integrity and health and freedom of the baby angel Geronimo. So everything that happens in the United Kingdom, in the judicial system, so called, in the parliament, in the political kind of equations, so called, everything that is done is wrong and it is based on lies. And if a high court judge like Griffiths says that it doesn't matter what the evidence is, then there is no doubt that the judicial system is a sham. This is why, or these are the reasons why, or these are the main reasons, among the reasons for our citing the baby angel Geronimo as the banner, as the main banner. To define everything that happens under the kind of banner of the judiciary, which is supposedly independent, but it's never independent, it's never objective, it's never fair. And justice is a billion miles away from the vicinity of the judicial bureaucracy. The main incumbent in the post of Prime Minister in July 2021. July 2021 was the congenital liar Boris Johnson. He said he agrees with DEFRA conspiracy. Keir Starmer, the so-called opposition, and the so-called licensed law trader, who had even served 5 years as the director of public prosecutions in the English jurisdiction, he too said that he agreed the evidence doesn't matter. All the commentators, including Dominic Lai's son, the son of the liar Nigel Lai's son, dismissed baby angel Geronimo's rights. The private eyes midget editor Ian Pissoff ridiculed baby angel Geronimo. And all the so-called normal reporting by the outlets, the Sun, the Daily Mail, even the Guardian group, the Observer, all of them, in effect, repeated the lies released by the liars of DEFRA against the innocent, perfectly healthy baby angel Geronimo. And in one of the comments that she made, baby angel Geronimo's mom, Helen MacDonald, said that she felt she had been targeted for torture because she had been denied all access to the information, the truth, and all opportunities to uphold the truth about baby angel Geronimo's health biological status. And they had been denying her, and they had been effectively defaming her, demonizing her, as well as demonizing the baby angel Geronimo. 4 years, 4 years they did that for. And they've been still doing it. So we shall be continuing to use baby angel Geronimo as the main banner under which we consider everything else that goes wrong within the UK system. Today's updates include the information that we are including for the first time about Thames Valley Police being the second police force in the United Kingdom who have confirmed that they have begun investigating Russell Brand. Now, Russell Brand, as we have said originally, and I have said, and I have found, I have considered him as an evil one right from the beginning, from the 2005 and 2006, when he first surfaced on the platform, the mainstream British television. He looks evil, he spews evil, and he is completely grotesquely, shamelessly illogical and lacking in any honesty, any morality, or any ethics. And it became complete when he and the evilness called Jonathan Ross brazenly abused the BBC platform and telephoned the late actor. Now he's late, but he was alive at that time, Andrew Sachs, and bragged to him that Russell Brand had sex with Andrew Sachs' granddaughter. It is grotesque. And it showed that the BBC, even after the post facto, if you like, after death, confession, that the BBC had given platform after platform to the serial rapist and criminal abuser of women, Jimmy Savile. They allowed Russell Brand to do the same. So we shall be continuing on Russell Brand on the theme of a second police force starting an investigation into the allegation of stalking and sexual harassment made by women against him within the jurisdiction of the Thames Valley Police. Now, there is this thing called Newham Voices. Now, until he denied it in a few months ago, I had always thought that Adrian White was a socialist wanker belonging to the Socialist Wonkers Party, especially from my recollections as a member of the so-called cooperative, the East End News, in 1981, where Adrian White, Mike Jem Shit, and Jake Eccleston were the leading so-called self-appointed NUJ left members behind the setup called the Eastern News, which was a completely corrupt project. They wanted money from the corrupt GLC fronted by their crook Ken Lying Still Livingston in return for a positive profile for Ken Lying Still Livingston as the left wing kind of leader of the world. But in a conversation that Adrian White had with me outside the old town hall in Stratford a few months ago, he denied that he was a member of the SWP. And I'm only putting that on the record in sequence. I always thought until that time, a few months ago, that he was a member of the SWP. And he has denied it. And for more than 40 years, I had thought that he was a member of the SWP. In fact, for more than 42 years, I had thought that this racist was a member of the SWP. And I'm calling him a racist, and I'm calling him a racist in preparation for the essay length investigative piece or series of pieces that I shall be running against him based on his lying. What is his lie? Well, he's a serial liar. And I accused him outside the Stratford Old Town Hall that he had been sucking up to Newham's elected mayor Roxana Fias. And he denied that he was sucking up to Roxana Fias. But he's in the latest edition of the Newham Voices, he gives her a positive mention about the arms sales exhibition that had just taken place earlier in September at the Excel Center based in Newham. Now, if Adrian White wasn't a sucker up to Roxana Fias, he would have not run a piece as he has done this issue, October 2023 issue. He would have demanded that Roxana Fias be held to account for allowing the exhibition to take place in Newham at all instead of condemning it. She allowed it, but then she condemns it. Contradiction. But that is typical contradiction on the part of Roxana Fias, who is absolutely classic denier of the truth. She has no morality, she has no ethics. And what she does is she tells lies, and she doesn't think that her lying is detected by people. She thinks that everyone is oblivious to the fact that she's a liar, or everyone is indifferent to the fact that she's a liar, or everyone is indifferent to the fact that she must be held to account. Now, at the same event where I was accidentally talking to Adrian White outside, this was an event that was held by the striking staff at the what was the thing that was happening? Oh, it was not the event of the striking staff, it was the tenants, tenants that were protesting outside the old Stratford Town Hall. I also raised the question about the dishonesty by Adrian White in distorting my picture, and he denied it. I also accused him of not running my very, very kindly generous piece of comment about the meeting that Roxana Fias appeared in and staged the stunt at in November 2018 in Canning Town, where she apologized or staged the apology for the mistreatment of the single mother, mistreatment by the social services, so called social disservices in Newham, who refused to help her, thus forcing her, this mum, to survive the night by drinking the milk that was meant for her child. In the piece that the Independent's then social affairs correspondent called May Bullman wrote, the piece is ill written and misleading, but that is the essence that I picked up from the misleadingly written piece, which is that Roxana Fias did say those things in staging her apology. So let's get to Roxana Fias' apology, the Independent. So, this is the online piece on the incident. The mother describes being forced to drink her baby's milk. I was in my slippers. It was so cold. I plucked up the courage to ask them to say, I'm hungry. I have a baby. But they said, we can't give you anything. I had to drink my baby's milk. Now, that's by May Bullman, described as social affairs correspondent, Tuesday, 13th of November 2018. And this post was at 13:59 British Standard Time. Now, I said that May Bullman wrote a misleading piece. Now, I'll read the full heading again to show the misleading bit. Mother describes being forced to drink her baby's milk. That is correct. But then she misleads in the rest of the heading. As people living with poverty come forward to tell you and Envoy their stories, that is fucking stupid. It's a criminal lie by the Independent and a criminal lie by May Bullman. Being treated as cruelly as the mother was is not people living with poverty. It is being treated cruelly, and it was not to be confused with the people coming from all over the place. The focus should have been on Newham Council's behavior. Anyway, in the piece there is a picture by May Bullman. She took the picture of Roxana Fiaz addressing the gathering, and the caption to the picture written by May Bullman. After hearing the witness statements, and she makes it plural, thus diffusing the whole thing even further. The impact of the cruelty and the cruel behavior by Newham Council Social Services has been completely messed up and understated, underplayed by May Bullman. After hearing the witness statements, now it should be statement so that the impact remains focused on that particular mother's experience. Newham Mayor Roxana Fiaz apologized on behalf of the council. That is a lie as well, because Roxana Fiaz staged an apology. She did not apologize. She staged it, and I'll show why I say it was a staged apology, not a real apology. After hearing the witness statements, Newham's mayor, Roxana Fiaz, said, can I just apologize? That is just typical lying statement by Roxana Fiaz, lying. Can I just apologize on behalf of myself as mayor of Newham and on behalf of the council, that is Newham Council, that she was obviously in the context of this piece as written by May Bullman and published by the lying independent.co.uk, that that in the plural, experienced that treatment. Well, if it is a plural, then it should be treatments, but this is a grammatically idiotic piece as well, incorrect piece. At the hands of people that we employ, it should not have happened. Now, what should have happened if Roxana Fiaz was genuinely apologetic? She should have said, I shall do these following things. I shall get these employees to apologize directly to you, and I shall get the entire Newham Council personnel employed in social services, for example, to stop behaving cruelly as they behave to this particular mom. And I shall make it necessary for employees to justify why they should not be sacked. if they behaved in the same way as they did. No such thing happened. And the proof that no such thing has happened has been found in the order by the local ombudsman recently, 5 years later, that a man who complained to Niyam Council about mold in his flat was ignored by Niyam Council. And when he complained to the ombudsman, Niyam Council lied to the ombudsman, lied to the ombudsman, and lied to the ombudsman. And I'm saying that is all lies by Roxana Fias. Now, Roxana Fias was suddenly foisted on the public at large in 2017 as a potential rival to the liar Robin Wales, who was in post as the mayor of Newham at the expense of Newham. So, in contest, my live kind of challenge to Robin Wales on the 14th of March 2018, I accused him of having been a dictator for 16 years and that he had intimidated even elected councillors to the point where they were not able to challenge him. Now, because of the platform where this live challenge took place, being organized by a completely dishonest individual, whose dishonesty I shall elaborate on in full later, not this edition, but another time. And because of the ignorance of this individual, because of the stupidity of this individual, because of the corruption by this individual who was actually an active member of the Conservative Party. And he told me on the program, quietly, he told me that he was hiding the fact that he had actually contested a seat, council seat in Newham, and he whispered to me that he wanted that not to be known on the program by Robin Wales. So I allowed that lie to remain unmentioned because the more important thing on the program, which was very short anyway, was to get Robin Wales held to account and exposed, which I did. It's all on the record, dated the 14th of March 2018. And on that program, Robin Wales hinted at Roxana Fayaz not being able to deliver on the promises that she was making. And I accept that on that one, Robin Wales was absolutely correct. Now let's go back to the. So let's check we can if we can find the actual item that I have run about Wales. Now this is the one. So one of the versions that I have run since then, and I'll read this out from one of the posts that I've made about that. 14th of March 2018, when on live television, Robin Wales was repeatedly stumped by Muhammad Haque, who exposed Wales's discreditable record against the people and community in Newham, where Wales was in anti-democratic mode as the executive mayor in the East London borough with high levels of poverty caused by an unaccountable anti democratic regime fronted by Wales showing contempt for ethics, morality, due process. One of the many posts that I've made since the 14th of March 2018. This is dated 12th of June 2023. And this, anyone who wants to follow up these conversations and the references can follow up the particular platform on Twitter, twitter.com/Khoodeelaar. The spelling is KHOODEELAAR. Now, how many how many posts in total are there on the Khoodeelaar Twitter account? Let's check. Well, according to this one, the Twitter account that we are running, this started in, as they say, we joined in 2008, so August 2008. And according to this, there are 160,200 posts. 160,200 posts. Now, have a think about it. 160,200 posts on this account alone. Now, the Khoodeelaar campaign, all organized by me, edited by me, researched by me, runs dozens of separate accounts on social media. So that is a sample. So in the same period from say August 2008, I have been publishing and I have published it's about 1,000,000 items, if not more. And one of the things that I do, the main thing that I do is to insist on the veracity, 100% veracity, verifiability, truthfulness, objectivity. So when I told Robin Wales on the 14th of March 2018 that he was lying, that he had intimidated the elected councillors, the idiot accused me of having condemned the people of Newham. I was doing the opposite. I was condemning him for letting down, suppressing the people of Newham. And he was accusing me of condemning the people of Newham. He was accusing me of what he was doing. I would never do what Robin Wales ever does. I'd never do what Roxana Fayaz does. I'd never do anything that any liar anywhere in any post will ever do. This is not something I'm just saying today, the 2nd of October 2023. This is what I've been doing for decades. This is the reason why I am not the president of a country or a minister in a cabinet of somebody else's cabinet anywhere. I have had all kinds of offers to join all kinds of governments and regimes, and I have said no. And the reason why I have said no, and the reason why I do say no, is because if I am a member of a cabinet of somebody, then I would have to follow the decisions of the cabinet of somebody, whoever that is. And I'd have to stay silent, even if that particular cabinet perpetrates lies. I've been doing this and I've been offered all of these positions well before the biological births of all these currently incumbent post holders, like the liar Lutfur Rahman and other liars. Now, I have been the leading personality in terms of the political presentation on the television system for 53 years. I mean, since in January 1970, I was the lead image shown on the national television in January 1970. That was the Pakistan National Television, the main news program in the evening, and various things happened in between then. And the 4th of May 1992, was it 92? No, 4th of May 1991. 4th of May 1991, the BBC News at 10, the program or the evening news, main evening news at 10 or news at 9 o'clock, had me as the main figure in the first lead item. So all the items are there on the record, and all the contexts are there on the record. And in every single item where I've been featured, it is non partisan, non party political, objective, international, and verifiable, absolutely not dependent on one party or one particular partisan ideology or opportunity or narrative. In the 1970, January 1970 presentation by the television, Pakistan National Television, they were reporting on the conference that had been held on the day preceding the evening, where university vice chancellors, college principals, and similar had attended a conference about the future of political, as they said, unrest on the campuses. I was not invited there. I only went there to demand that the event that they were in the middle of kind of proceeding with should have been representative and should have been, above all, independent of government, independent of any other influences. So instead of doing what I said they should be doing, they invited me to come and address the gathering. So I addressed the gathering, and that's how the television news editors, journalists decided that I was the speaker who warranted the most significant mention. That is how I came to be the main leading item on the news in January 1970, based on the event that took place at a location in the University of Dhaka in then East Pakistan. So, what the lying by the East End News in 1981 did has been repeated by Adrian White in the New Voices. And the New Voices, October 2023 edition, it's a monthly one, is typically corrupt and stupid and diversionary and absolutely shallow. Shall be discussing Newham Vices more during the month of October. Let's see if the camera can catch an image of this. So this is the, it is not, camera is not catching because the camera is not, the desktop that I'm using is not stable. But the main thing is Black history, stories of struggle and success. That's a lie, because the Black History Month is a similar to the corrupt funding that the Eastern News in 1981 wanted from Ken Livingstone. The former GLC, the Greater London Council, distributed public money to criminals posing as campaigners against racism, etc., etc. These campaigners against racism were using the pretext, the slogan. They were not genuinely campaigning and were not genuinely interested in being engaged to campaign in campaigning against racism at all. These criminals were encouraged to engage in that crime, a career in crime, as subsidiary kind of agents for the propaganda being run for the benefit of Ken Livingston Livingston, who had been the coup leader against Andrew McIntosh in May 1981 when Livingston, Bryn Davies, and other criminals sabotaged the result of the election in terms of the group loyalty in the Labour Party in the context of the GLC. They removed Andrew McIntosh as the leader and they imposed Ken Livingston Livingston as the leader of the GLC. And what Livingston then started was a campaign to become the leader of the world, to use a later word phrase by another moron, the congenital liar Boris Johnson, leader of the world, the king of the world. So, depending on his understanding of the willingness on the part of these people who would be bribed under this banner or that banner, Ken Livingston Livingstone set out to become the king of the world. And he paid money to ethnicity linked propagandists, propaganda agents. And he did that solely to comply, to get them to comply with his desire to be given the maximum possible publicity. So when Ken Livingston was given the publicity, he was given the maximum possible kind of priority, high profile, highest possible profile in the particular organ. Typical organs included the Caribbean Times, fronted by the crook Rifraf Ali, that is Arif Ali, and an Indian Gujarati one called C.B. Patel the Crook. The C.B. Patel the Crook was actually East African criminal, but he's a Hindutva moron, Hindu fascist supporter of the likes of Modi. But this happened long before Modi surfaced politically. This was happening in the 1980s. So Ken Livingston paid the crook C.B. Patel and he paid the crook Rifraf Arif Ali and assorted other crooks solely for the purpose of those crooks parading Ken Livingston as the leader of the world. So when the Eastern News was set up in 1981, the main kind of movers in that setup, as I said, were Adrian White, Mike Jem Shit, and Jacob the racist Eccleston, and a former fundraiser for the Communist Party of Great Britain, a racist woman called Zelda Curtis. In the crowd was also the current recently deceased George Alagit. George Alagit was a novice. He was not a journalist. He had no experience or involvement as a campaigner or anything. He just surfaced in order to get himself a mention. I mean, Alagit then joined the agent of the ex martial law dictator of Pakistan, Ayub Khan, Altaf Gahar. Altaf Gahar was allowed by the Guardian criminals in London to associate themselves with him and called the thing called set up a thing called the Third World Foundation. And George Alagit gleefully joined them as a servant of Altaf Gahar. Years later, after he got himself a spot on the BBC based on the references he acquired for himself at the Third World Foundation, Alagit launched his anti Muslim crusade. So, East End News had such criminals there. And of course, there were the mainly two apartheid South African white women that Mike Jemshit kind of flirted with throughout the whole period of the few months that it lasted. The Eastern News, one of the things in Tower Hamlets that Ken Lyons to Livingstone encouraged as the possible propagandist for his kind of promotion. The other one was Community Alliance for Police Accountability, absolute lying outfit operated by a gang of racists who claimed to be suddenly they suddenly became campaigners for police accountability. This never happened. Tower Hamlets, or the East End of London, the boroughs, has always been a safe place for racists in the police and for race. And the Tower Hamlets Labour Party, as I outlined at open meeting in 1978, July 1978, which when which was the time when Tower Council was being quote led or misled the racist Paul Beasley. Paul Beasley, the crook, was treated as a kind of semi deity by the mental slaves from the Bangladeshi community in return for a mention he gave them and gave them a reference which they would otherwise not have. So, at a open meeting held at the Montefiore Center in July 1978, I literally pointed at Paul Beasley and said that the racist murder of Altabali, at that time it was Altabali, I can't remember the exact date, so I can't say whether Ishaq Ali had also been murdered by that time that I spoke. But it was a focus was at that time, at that meeting, on the racist murdering Altabali. So I said that the actual atmosphere in Tower Hamlets, in which racists could feel confident when they attacked their targets, such as restarted the computer after it stalled. So this is still continuing the part A of the Khudilar television channel, broadcasting under the Baby Angel Geronimo editions, part A on Monday the 2nd of October 2023. So continuing on the theme of the corruption of the UK state and its agencies, all of these diagnostic, factual, evidential, empirical updates are covered by the Baby Angel Geronimo edition's essay, because they're continuing on the theme that even though they make big claims about the English judiciary being independent, it is none of this, it is not true at all. And the proceedings against Baby Angel Geronimo by the so called High Court judges Griffiths and Murray and the District Judge Lawton illustrate the brazen dishonesty by the judiciary. And Griffith said openly that facts and the evidence don't matter. Is the Secretary of State's entitled to disregard the facts? Now that completely disposes of the pretense of due process and rule of law and etc. etc. So the battle that the Baby Angel Geronimo has been fighting has been the battle against the lies, not just against him, but against all the victims of judicial corruption, criminality, lack of accountability, lack of democracy in the United Kingdom. And this goes on at every level of the courts, in every division, in every divisional court in the High Court, where the sitting licensed law traders who sit as judges lie regularly, and they're racist regularly, they're prejudiced regularly. And the ethnic surrogates, the mental slaves, licensed law trade, licensed careers, who are given the diversity token jobs, like the initial one, the original one called Mota Singh, a Sikh from East Africa, became a QC at the time, who would be King's Counsel now if he were alive. But Mota Singh was a licensed law trader who became a Queen's Counsel, and he behaved as a complete mental slave, as illustrated in the role that he played against Mr. Saif Ali. Saif Ali is the victim of a barrister's incompetence and dishonesty. So that case is known as Saif Ali versus Sidney Mitchell. Sidney Mitchell is the name of the law firm that the barrister was attached to. And Mr. Saif Ali was ill advised, and his barrister, so called, completely fucked up. And in his comments against Mr. Saif Ali, Mota Singh, the Sikh, betrayed all the pretense to neutrality and objectivity and fairness. And thus he established himself as a mental slave in the British English judiciary that was given a token post as a judge. And all the Mota Singhs, let's say, that have followed Mota Singh, the original one, have behaved the same way. There is no record of one single member of the judiciary either taken from the African backgrounds or the Asian backgrounds, has actually vindicated any of the rights, any of the causes for justice sought by any of the people from the African or Asian parts of the demography. So, for example, in 1992, when I was organizing the campaign against the racist head teacher at the Stratford School in Newham, Anne Snelling, The Guardian published the piece The Angry Messiah of E1. The Angry Messiah is supposed to be me. And in the piece, which was a hatchet job by The Guardian and Sarah Bosley, the hatchet job was, of course, authorized by Alan Rabisha. Because I had been a long standing critic of Alan Rabisha's idiocies, he thought that I was fair game that they could actually attack me in that piece by Sarah Bosley. But it was so childish and infantile and stupid and ignorant, typically. Because she started the piece headed The Angry Messiah of E1, by comparing me with a national hero in a novel by R.K. Narayan, the Indian writer. So she started me, or the attack on me, by comparing me with a national hero in an R.K. Narayan novel. And she immediately proceeded to downgrade me. And the downgrading was done by quoting, against me allegedly, Peter Newsom, who was the director of the Institute of Education, University of London at one stage, before he was the chief education officer at the Inner London Education Authority. And then after that, he was the chairman of the Commission for Racist Enslavement, also known as the Commission for Racial Equality. Then she quoted Ken Livingston Livingston. And in his contribution to attacking me, Ken Livingston said to The Guardian and Sarah Bosley that it was true that I was protesting against him and his policies. But he said gleefully that nobody else was supporting him. So therefore, said Ken Livingston Livingston, we just ignored him. Well, the context of the references to me was the opposite of being ignored, of my being ignored by these criminals. Far from it. Because Ken Livingston Livingston actually, what he didn't say in The Guardian was that he hired four hefty, very big, bulky kind of thugs as security guards at the county hall in London, Southeast One, during the 1980s. And the main reason why he increased the number of security guards on duty at the county hall entrance was to physically stop me, one individual, entering county hall. Now he couldn't do that. He didn't need that. He didn't need four extra security thugs on duty to prevent my entry into county hall. I carried a legitimate, lawful entry card, pass, to allow me to do my business as the elected by community representative. So you can see all these people, Ken Livingston Livingston, Peter Newsom, Eric Bolton, one of the former inspectors at the department, so-called education, and Daphne Gould, the former head teacher of the Marlbury School in Tower Hamlets, which I saved. I saved in the 1980s the Mulberry School from being taken over by a merged program and made it and being turned into a mixed sex school. I have already discussed that in detail and also explained the unique contribution that I made by keeping it single sex school, thus enabling it to create a results league table status which attracted Michelle Obama of the USA, who was so impressed by that she visited the school personally. No such event happened as a result of anything done by anyone else for Tower Hamlets, the whole community. Black, white, African, Asian, whatever. So, all these items will be updated in due course and commented on. I shall be ending this particular edition at 1 hour, 4 minutes, just under 5 minutes, at 09:59, which is coming to 10 GMT on Monday, the 2nd of October 2023.